Welcome to National Electronics Week here in the UK. I'm joined by Claire Saunders, who's the event director. Nice to see you again, Claire.
Nice to see you too.
You're much closer to the UK electronics industry than most people. I wrote an article, I guess, last January now, from figures that were provided by the local trade associations saying that if you looked at the entire electronic supply chain, you had something like 800,000 people involved in it, contributing 5.1% of the British GDP, which was a shocking number. Their idea was to try and grow that between now and 2020. My question to you is, you're closer to the feeling on the ground. What is your feeling about the British electronics industry? Do you feel it is actually growing in that direction?
I honestly believe that there's something's happening again in the UK. We've had a rough time for a long time in the UK. You know, we're always the first to get kicked, and it's been a really, really tough time for these guys. Just looking at this exhibition itself, you can see the pride, a lot more pride going into the stand builds. People seem a lot more excited and energised again. So I think we are getting some sort of, rebirth, if you like, of the industry. So I think it's going really, really well. People seem to be doing business. You know, I've spoken to a lot of the guys here who do pick and place machines who have met completely new clients. So there is new business. It's a different business than we used to have. You know, we haven't got the big multinationals. We've got a lot of guys who are doing, who are placing components, but they're not necessarily huge companies, but they're still purchasing. So yeah, I really do think something's happening, and it's good, and it's about time.
Last, of course. Well, I mean, one thing I've seen is there's quite a lot of new innovation here. There's some pockets of things that are really quite very, very interesting and will have effects on the global stage for electronics manufacturing. So tell us a little bit about number of exhibitors you've got and sort of, I know you don't have the traffic numbers yet, but I mean, tell us a little bit about the show.
Well, we've co-located the show this time around. We run every year, and every 2 years we co-locate with another 6 industry shows that are around the NEC. So there's Mac, and there's Drives and Controls, there's an energy show. So it brings in a much wider sort of audience of engineers. So if there is a crossover, and we see people walking in with the different badges, so that's good. And it does benefit all of the shows so that, people can see a lot more product. So it's a full day out. With regard to exhibitors, with the National Electronics Week has tried to be, if you like, the home for every single stage of the process of electronics. We always see strength in the production and EMS side and the design and test side. That's where we're set really mainly. But we do have some components companies here, and like you say, there's lots of new companies with little technologies and stuff that's really, really innovative and really exciting. So, yeah.
So talking about these new companies and innovative companies, I believe that you are planning to do a sort of rebranding exercise next year. Can you tell us a little bit about the rebranding and what's behind it?
Well, we started National Electronics Week. Obviously, in my history, I've been in the electronics industry for a while now, different events. We started National Electronics Week. It's been shortened to the new show, and it's not new anymore. It's been running since 2008. But industry's changing. The way people buy and the way people engage with each other is changing. Obviously, social media is more important. People are doing a lot more online as well as doing face-to-face. You can't ever take an exhibition away. You can't pack one of these machines into the back of a vehicle and take it to somebody's office. So you need the engagement, you need the interaction with your customers. But I want to ensure that we add more value for our clients. So we're changing the show. We're bringing in, reintroducing a name that was very popular in the industry many years ago. What's new in electronics? Yeah,
okay, so very well-known magazine many years ago.
It was, but there's a lot of people who do remember that. But obviously the younger people coming into the industry don't remember. But the reason for doing that is we want to let people know what's happening, not just over the 3 days or the 2 days of the shows that we run, but throughout the year. So becoming a portal, obviously working very closely with people like yourselves, our partners, to make sure that we get news out to people. We want to put a job site on there so people can engage and sort of match make, because there's no specific sort of job sector or job sort of recruitment company for electronics. So we want to try and sort of engage more with industry throughout the year.
So if the name's What's New in Electronics, I mean, what are you going to do specifically at the show to draw attention to that? Are you going to bring in more of these little incubator companies from Cambridge area and that sort of thing?
We'd like to try and introduce more of those companies. We want to try and offer some sort of incentives for smaller companies to come in, for little startups, maybe have sort of like a little village area for them to come in. So it's a very sort of low cost thing for them to do, so they can come along and use this as a base to start building their business and to engage with the industry. So absolutely, yeah, we want to make sure that it's not just the multinational companies who get a chance to have a stand and an opportunity. Working a lot more with government where we can, and the skill sets. and also obviously doing things that are interesting for graduates, because they're important. There was a lot of us who've been in the industry for a long time, and we're not all going to be around forever, unfortunately. So we need to, we need to get that new blood in, and we need to encourage them to get involved with the show.
There's also a lot of research going on at places like University of Southampton, Dundee, Loughborough. I mean, are you going to encourage them to come and maybe do some sort of poster session and about their technologies?
Yeah, for sure. We want to get people in. We want to beef up the technical content for sure. We've tried over the last few years to make sure that we're not just letting people come and stand and talk about themselves in a seminar, because nobody wants to be sold to like that. So if anybody comes and does a technical talk at the show, it has to be technical. There has to be something that people can learn from. So definitely we will be inviting people in and trying to encourage them to, to let people know what's going on out there and what opportunities there are.
Okay. Well, it's great to catch up with you, Claire, and we certainly wish you all the best with the new rebranding.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Lovely to see you. Cheers. Thanks.